Before I ventured into cybersecurity, I was a computer scientist. I had to opt for an internship with the GT Bank as a teller. But I've always loved to want to get myself involved in stuff like that, hacking something, getting into something, breaking it down, looking at how it was being put together. Hello, cyber friends. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, in my previous video, I promised that I'm going to be starting a series called Journey to Cybersecurity, where I'm going to be sharing my journey, my story, how I started out, some of the lessons that I learned, some concepts, strategies that people like you aspiring to become a cybersecurity professional, strategies you can follow, some of the things that have worked for me, and that's what I'll be sharing in this series. Right, there's going to be season 1, there's going to be season 2, and this particular video is the episode 1 of season 1 of the series. The previous video is just like an introduction video to just announce that I will be starting this series. Today, I'm going to be talking about my cybersecurity origin story. Of course, I shared a little bit of that story in my previous video, but today I'm going to be talking about what I was doing before I ventured into cybersecurity, my first exposure to cybersecurity or security concepts, what I think cybersecurity will do in the future or how relevant I think it is. I would also talk about some misconceptions about cybersecurity, and of course, that will be all for this episode 1. So let's get right into it. All right. So before I ventured into cybersecurity, I was a computer scientist. I actually studied computer science in the Polytechnic. I had ND. I studied computer science as a national diploma student. I graduated with a very good grade. Well, first class for the university distinction, and I graduated as the best student in my faculty, or they call it School of Applied Science. Right. During my time. After my graduation, there is normally a 1-year internship that is mandatory for Polytechnic students if they will be coming back for higher national diploma studies. But I had the mind of furthering my education in the university and not going back for HND, but I still went for that 1-year internship. I did that with GT Bank. When I finished, right, I wanted to intern with tech companies. Of course, I went for a couple of interviews and the money they were calling were ridiculous. I know then I was all about the money because I wanted to raise money, to support myself in the university. So I was hoping that with the skills and my results, I'll be able to get like a very good internship that would pay at least to an extent for me to be able to save and all of that. But to my greatest surprise, all the companies that I interviewed with that are tech companies, they believed that they are going to be trading me. So I'm not bringing so much value, so to say, to the organization. So they don't see any reason for them to pay me more than the amount they were offering. But because my goal there was to actually gather money and all of that, I had to opt for an internship with the GT Bank as a teller, cash teller. Right. But during those periods, I was also still learning. But before I finished school, I ensured that I mastered Java programming language very well. In fact, my final year project was a Java programming project. Like I developed a website using Java scripts and all of that. God bless my supervisor in my national diploma day who gifted me a Java Bible. That really helped me. Those were the things I was into: general tech stuff, programming languages, building applications and all of that. But my first exposure to cybersecurity was, I think, after my internship, and then I had to get another job because I couldn't get admission into the university as at the time I was done with my internship. My first exposure to cybersecurity was during that period. I've heard of hacking before, and that was when I was still very young. I have heard of hacking. The days of Nigerians, a lot of Nigerians that are about 25 and above, 26 and above, we understand better. The days of getting MTN cheat, using Symbian phones to actually browse for free, tweaking, jailbreaking your phone and all of that. Those are the things that I know about getting your way into the system, penetrating the phone or the system and all of that. As at then, I didn't know that there's something called cybersecurity. I didn't know that there's something called information security. But I've always loved to want to get myself involved in stuff like that, hacking something, getting into something, breaking it down, looking at how it was being put together. But that was when I was way young. So when I finished my internship and I moved to working with another company, I actually began to pique interest in cybersecurity, began to make research into it. And I could remember that then I tried to attend different universities to study computer science, but it was not forthcoming. And I got to know about the Federal University of Technology, Maine and Niger State, offering a course called cybersecurity. I was wow, and I was determined to actually go get that Bachelor of Technology in cybersecurity. Also, another exposure that really sparked my interest in cybersecurity was when a friend of mine was scammed online, and I know that also is part of protecting information, protecting data, not divulging the personally identifiable information and all of that. That also sparked my interest to how do I protect people online? How do I help people to protect their data, help organizations protect their system? And also I learned that a lot of systems are built without security in mind. That is, there's no security by design blended or embedded into the design of some of the systems. So that actually made me to get more interest in cybersecurity. And I want to tell you today, I know that you might have heard it somewhere, but I'm repeating it again, that cybersecurity is not just about hacking. I know that a lot of young people today who wants to join cybersecurity thought the only thing there is to cybersecurity is hacking. It's not hacking. It's not just hacking. There are different career paths. There's cyber defense, monitoring organization systems to actually detect intrusion. And there is GRC, governance risk and management, where you carry out risk management and organization assets, information technology assets, technologies, data organization, to be able to predict the risk that might be associated with those assets, and then be able to recommend remediation that will reduce the risk of those assets being compromised. These are various career paths within the cybersecurity industry beyond just penetration testing, or what a lot of people call hacking, right? And that's not all there is to cybersecurity. And because of the flexibility of the cybersecurity industry, it makes it very easy for any and everybody to be able to come in and have their own piece of cake out of this profession. So it means that whatever you might have been doing before, whether you're into tech or not, it does not matter. There is always a place for you in cybersecurity because it's very wide, very flexible. It is not all technical. It is not all tech. It's a technical field, but it is not all technical. It means that if you are not a techie person, you have a chance to be a security professional, information security professional, GRC professional within the cybersecurity space. Another thing that I think I want to talk about also is, when I started out, I do not have so much help. I do not have so much people that were willing to help. But I think right now we have a lot of people willing to help. For instance, I'm sharing information with you. There are a lot of people who are sharing this information, helping people right now. But the time I started out in 2020, all of those were not there. Yeah, there were a few communities I was able to join, and also as time goes on in this episode, I'm going to be talking about some of these strategies, right? Communities, skills, experiences, job experience, work experience, all of that. But in other episodes, right? So why do I think cybersecurity will remain relevant, in the future? Or why do I think it's one of the future-proof jobs or future-proof careers that is going to remain relevant for a very long time? Why I think so is that technology is progressive, right? It is evolving. Every day there are new technologies that are emerging. There are new, and every of these new technologies have risks associated with them. There are vulnerabilities, that is, there are loopholes in those technologies. Most of the time, when there is a new technology that emerges, most of the time they are designed for usability alone and not designed based on security. And most of these technology are designed, first of all, the designers want to consider the usability of the product before they even consider security. Yeah, I know that now, because of different security, cybersecurity education, different advancement in the industry, a lot of organizations are now considering security by design or secure development for their product. But for new emerging technology, take for instance artificial intelligence. The first time artificial intelligence emerges, there were a lot of risks and vulnerabilities that came with it, and that up until now there's still a lot being done within the cybersecurity space to ensure that the security of artificial intelligence comes to stay, or there is adequate protection and measures in place to actually secure artificial intelligence system. But when it came out, when it emerges, came with a lot of risks that when there were no solutions for those loopholes as at then. But now, there are different frameworks, there are different measures and controls and solutions that have been developed now, and regulations have been developed to ensure that there is responsible artificial intelligence usage or artificial intelligence use. All of this were not available by the time that AI actually came to be. So there is this loophole, there is this risk that always comes with emerging technology that will require that security is being deployed to actually protect these technologies and these systems. So this is why cybersecurity will remain relevant. And another thing is cybersecurity will continue to be relevant across all sectors. As a cybersecurity professional, you can work in the hospital, you can work in the healthcare, you can work in the energy sector. I currently work in the energy sector. I've worked with the healthcare before. I've worked with the financial sector before. I've worked in the fintech organization before. I've worked with an healthcare organization before. Currently, I work with an energy organization that is utility energy, right? And the list goes on and on. So it means that irrespective of the sector, you with a cybersecurity expertise can work in any sector without having the expertise of those sectors. I'll say that again. As a cybersecurity professional, you can work in any sector without having the expertise of those sectors. For instance, working in the healthcare, I am not a doctor, I am not a physician, right? But I've worked in the healthcare industry before as a cybersecurity professional. I've worked in fintech before. I was never a banker. I was never a finance person, but I worked there to protect the financial data, to protect the organization, to protect that sector. So it means as a cybersecurity professional, you can work in any sector to protect them, and that makes the profession very relevant, and the profession to continue to be relevant, because in all sectors, across all sectors, our services are always needed to protect data, to protect systems, the industrial control systems, protect them, because there are attacks that are being launched every day against these systems, against organization data, against people online, offline, and the rest of that. So, and I believe because of this, cybersecurity is here to stay for a very long time, and it's going to be one of those jobs, one of those fields and professions that is going to be relevant for a long time. Another profession or another field that I think will be relevant like that is artificial intelligence. And the truth of the matter is, now there is an intersection between artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. There is AI for cybersecurity, and there is security for AI. AI for cybersecurity is infusing artificial intelligence into cybersecurity in order to improve the security processes, in order to improve the efficiency of security solutions, and sometimes automate some of the manual tasks that get some job done within the security space. That is AI for cybersecurity. Now there is security for AI, and that is protection of artificial intelligence systems, protection of AI data, right? Ensuring that there is responsible use of AI, ensuring that artificial intelligence is used the way it's supposed to be used. It's not used against humans, or it's not used against businesses and the rest of that. So you see that even as much as artificial intelligence is very, very relevant, it also has a role to play in cybersecurity, and cybersecurity has a role to play in artificial intelligence, because there must be governance and regulations that actually regulate the use of artificial intelligence. There must be governance in place to have an oversight over how the system performs, over the data used to train the system, and all of that. So I believe that cybersecurity is going to be so much relevant in the future, and it's not one of those jobs that artificial intelligence is going to be taking away, because both field is going to be working. I hope I've not bugged you with a lot of information, but I think these are fundamental things that you need to know as an aspiring cybersecurity professional, or somebody that would be transitioning into the cybersecurity profession. Who is this series for? This series is for aspiring cybersecurity professionals, people who are transitioning into the cybersecurity space from other professions, or maybe somebody that want to change their career, they want to pivot from their non-technical career to a technical career, which is cybersecurity. So please share, like, comment, spread the word, because you're going to be getting value for your time on this series. Thank you for watching, and I'm going to catch up with you in the next video. Bye.